Hi, and thanks for joining for this week's episode of Ask Emily. Our first question is from Lauren, who says, I'm a long-distance bridesmaid, and since it's harder to be part of the planning process, I wanted to send the bride-to-be little gifts throughout the year to let her know I'm thinking about her. Do you have any suggestions for original gifts, both big and small, for the bride-to-be? I think it's a really sweet idea that you are thinking of the bride-to-be and wanting to send her little things since you won't be there for maybe some of the day-to-day things. The most important thing, I think, is to remind the bride-to-be that it should be a really fun, joyous, celebratory time, and I think a lot of people get caught up in a lot of stress. So things like some pretty nail polishes, or if she's a big fan of cookies or donuts, send those from her favorite bakery, and also a bottle of champagne always goes a really long way to remind someone to celebrate the little things along the way. Cynthia wants to know, is there a balance you find helpful between deciding what parts of your personal life you decide to share with us and what you decide to keep private? So this is something I had to decide really early on, just finding that balance of sharing things so that my readers felt a personal connection with me, and then keeping things private so that I felt like I still had, a life to myself. And I think whenever I question something, so if I'm like, is this too much? Is this sharing too much? I usually opt for the side of safety and decide not to publish it. But I think every once in a while, things like I recently posted a little thing about my grandmother's death seemed really personal at the time, but not only was it therapeutic for me to get out, but I think a lot of people really relate to those kinds of posts because they've been through similar things. So really it just is a day-to-day thing, trying to find that balance. Svenja asked, I am moving into my new flat next month. My main room is painted in the same light pink color as your office. Do you have any recommendations for the decor and colors I can combine with these walls? I don't want to have it too girly though. I think it's a great idea that you're doing your main room in a light pink. I think it's all about embracing colors that you love, which is pretty much what I did with my office. And at first I was kind of nervous that it would be too cutesy or girly or look like a little girl's room. But I think as long as you offset that color with things that are a little bit more masculine, have some edge, it'll be really great. In my office, I have things with white and gold, but I love the idea of keeping a color palette with kind of cream and charcoal gray for your main room. Keep most of the things really neutral, so white curtains, dark gray couch I think would look really nice, and then even bring in some masculine elements like some heavy brass lamps and even a little skull sculpture would be cute. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Ask Emily, and make sure to keep sending in your questions to me via the comment section on my site or through social media with the hashtag AskEmily.